Welcome to the Ask the Experts podcast. Here's Curran Bhatia.
I am Curran Bhatia, and this is Ask the Experts. We all know about what's going on in the world right now, so looking at a little escapism here, look back at some boxing, talk to a couple of top names in the heavyweight division. So on March 7th at the Barclays Center, Robert Helenius upset Adam Kownacki. It definitely was an upset. The 30-year-old Kownacki was expected to win. The 36-year-old Helenius was not necessarily a stepping stone, but wasn't supposed to be something to derail Kownacki's attempt to become world champion. Well, they call boxing the theater of the unexpected for a reason. And Helenius got the fourth round shocking knockout upset against Adam Kownacki. I was there at the Barclays Center. It was a sea of red. These were Polish supporters of Adam Kownacki. There was almost 9,000 fans in attendance. I think everyone in the arena, their jaws collectively hit the floor when Robert Helenius eventually stopped Adam Kownacki in round 4. So I will be speaking to Robert Helenius all the way from the Åland Islands. That's where he trains. It's where he lives, between Finland and Sweden. So I'm going to talk to him about getting the win, what it felt like, what was the key to victory there to upset Adam Kownacki. Does he want to have a rematch? Who does he want to have? Who does he want to fight next? We know that he's actually trained and sparred with Joshua Fury Wilder. He's actually sparred with these guys. So does he want a chance to get a title opportunity? Does he want a big fight? Does he want the rematch with Kownacki? Who does he want? And then, looking at the other side of the coin here, I will be talking to Adam Kownacki. He was rolling, as we said. He was 20-0, 15 KOs, only 30 years old, from Poland, but had the community in Brooklyn behind him. And unfortunately, it was not his night on March 7th. So I just spoke to him a few days ago. We're going to see how he's keeping up with everything that's going on in the world. Is he training? What's in his mindset? Does he want a rematch? Or does he want to move on to something else? Before this fight, there were talks that Andy Ruiz may be in the cards. Is that gone now? Does he still want that fight? And when I interviewed him leading up to the fight, I talked about he wanted to be a title contender. He wanted an opportunity at the world title. They offered him Anthony Joshua in June of 2019. He didn't take that fight. He felt like it wasn't an actual offer. There wasn't much time to prepare. And that fight ended up going to Andy Ruiz, who obviously, as we all know, shocked the world and beat Anthony Joshua. When I talked to Kownacki before the Helenius fight, he said he didn't regret not taking that opportunity. I'm going to ask him if he regrets it now that he has his first loss, and obviously there's going to be some rebuilding that has to take place before he can now get that title opportunity. I'll also speak to him about the one small controversial moment. It was in round 4. The first knockdown was called a slip. It could have benefited either guy. Kownacki didn't get the full 8 count, but at the same time, it wasn't ruled a knockdown. I'm going to ask him about if that should have been a knockdown or a slip. So without further ado, let's get to my first guest. Here is my conversation with the Nordic Nightmare, fresh off of his knockout victory. Here is my conversation with Robert Helenius. I am Curran Bhatia, and let's ask the experts. I am Curran Bhatia, speaking with Robert Helenius. Robert, congratulations on the big heavyweight knockout victory over Adam Kownacki. It was a shocking victory. You quieted the Barclays Center. How are you feeling now, only a few days after the big win?
Thanks for the congratulations. I feel really good. A little bit tired though because the flight home and everything, But I feel good.
And I know that you trained in the Åland Islands. That's between Finland and Sweden. There's not many people there. I believe you said it was 25,000 people. Is that where you are now?
Yeah, at the island. Yeah, this is where I live at Åland Islands. So I train here. I have my gym here, and every time before a fight, we take sparring partners from all over the world, and they come here and we train here.
And since there's only 25,000 people, and I know there's no big highways, I'm guessing it's a good place to avoid the coronavirus, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So You are 36 years old, and you've had a decently long career, and you got the opportunity to fight Adam Kownacki in Barclays Center, where he's had success. When you were first offered the fight, what was going through your head? Were you jumping at the opportunity to get back on the big stage?
Of course. Yes, I was really happy that they offered the fight.
And I know that you've had a winning streak, but then you had the disappointing loss to Gerald Washington last year. Were you looking to make a statement and say that you are coming back from that knockout loss?
Exactly. Yeah. Before that fight, I was ill, so I couldn't. Yeah, it was a bad fight from me, and I wanted to show everybody that I still got it.
And so you came to New York. Adam Kownacki he's from Poland, but he has grown up in New York, and he has a huge following here. So when you were in the Barclays Center, I was there ringside. There was about over 8,000 fans, almost 9,000. It was a sea of red and a sea of Polish supporters. Was that intimidating at all to see all the fans that were there for Adam Kownacki?
No, for me, I've been boxing for 20 years, and I've been boxing all over the world, and as an amateur and a pro as well. So I can block out the crowd. I'm just focused on the fight, So it was more of course, when the booing was really hard at some point. I tried not to let it get to me.
And the fight started. It was a very competitive fight. Adam, in the first round, was having success. He outlanded you by a bit. But then in round two is when things got interesting. You started to land some big shots on Adam. And we saw for the first time, the announcers acknowledged it. It was the first time that we've seen Adam Kownacki take a backward step. We know he's undefeated. Hasn't been hurt. He's rarely been hurt. So what did you find in round two to start having success?
Yeah, I think also in the first round, I landed really hard shot in the body, and I felt that nobody how to explain it, but I felt I hit him really hard many times throughout the rounds, and I felt success even though he was coming forward all the time, and I knew he was the more volume puncher and stuff like that. But I felt how hard I hit him, and he was still coming, and I knew nobody can take that much punishment in several rounds. So I felt really good through all the fight.
And
I felt that I wasn't fumbled at any point.
And did he have a tough style to deal with? We know he throws a lot of punches. In his last fight with Chris Arreola, they set heavyweight records for the amount of punches thrown and landed. Was that tough to deal with in terms of the volume?
No, it wasn't tough. Of course, the fight was tough as long as it lasted, but I felt really comfortable throughout the fight, and I didn't feel that I was in any trouble at any point. So I just continued throwing hard punches back at him when I had the chance. And like I said before, we have been training a lot with people that is forward coming and throws a lot of punches and puts pressure on me. So I felt really comfortable doing what I did.
And in round four, you caught him flush. It looked like a right hand and then maybe a left, but then another right. The referee incorrectly called it a slip, which may have worked to your advantage because Adam didn't get the 8 count there. What were you thinking at that moment? Were you upset that the referee called it a slip?
No, I wasn't upset. I although with the experience, I try not to think if the referee is doing wrong or something. I just want to continue fighting, of course, and for me, maybe it was as a benefit. He didn't have 8 seconds more to recover from it, so I don't know. I felt also how hard many times I think he went down with 2 really right hands, hard right hands when he was pressuring me to the corner, and I do really hard right hands that put him down. So I knew he was maybe hurt a little bit at least, and then I tried with my jab, and I knew now it's my turn.
When he got up, you landed a left hand that put him down again. This time it was counted as a knockdown. At that point, did you know that you had him hurt?
Yeah. I saw him wobble when he came up, and I don't know, I just knew it was my turn to put the pressure on.
And you did put the pressure on. The referee stopped the fight. Just take me through the final few seconds of the fight. You were throwing combinations at will. He wasn't answering. Were you expecting the referee to jump in there and take us through the final few seconds there?
Yes, I was expecting that, yes. That's why I just punches after punches, because everything that I hit landed, and I saw he has no more defense, and he wasn't throwing anything back. And everything that he tried to throw was very weak because he had no balance, and I think he was a little bit weary in the head.
And you were asked after the fight if this was the most satisfying moment of your career at the time. It was right after the fight, so you said you need some time to digest. Now that you're back at home and you've had some time to reflect, was this the most satisfying moment of your career?
At this point, yes. It's not the end.
And, of course, we have to look forward to what's next. Obviously, Adam Kownacki would like a rematch. Would you like the rematch? Would you like to move on to a world title shot? What do you want next?
That's a little bit too early still to ask. I can't really answer that now. But, yeah, I like I said, I've been a long time in this game. I have over 30 fights, and I'm 36 years old, so I have to talk to the manager, promoters, and stuff like that, how we're going to see the next fight.
And we know the top players in the heavyweight division, of course, Joshua, Fury, and Wilder. You've actually sparred and trained with some of these top heavyweights before, right?
All of them, yeah.
And based on your training and your sparring, is there anyone in that group that you feel that you would match up well with if the fight was to happen sometime in the future?
Of course.
And which fighter, of the top three heavyweights, Joshua, Fury, Wilder, do you think that you would match up best against?
I can't really answer that now, but I think all of them is beatable, so nobody is unbeatable.
Absolutely, and we've seen that in the heavyweight division, especially recently. So just to wrap it up, you're 36 years old. How much longer do you want to fight? 36 years old is not too old for a heavyweight, right? Because as we saw on Saturday night, if you have power, anything's possible. So how much longer do you expect to keep fighting?
Yeah, maybe a couple of years. Like I said, also before this fight, it's the first time in like a long time that I have been injury-free, and many training camps behind me has gone well without any broken bones in my hands and stuff like that. So I feel really, really good now. And that's a long time ago. Where I was injured after a fight, almost every fight. I had some problems with my hands, but now I feel like we found the perfect balance in training and everything that makes me stronger every time.
And just to wrap it up, Adam Kownacki, we said he was 30 years old, undefeated. I'm just curious about, I know that you've been on the other end of losing a fight. Do you feel, any sympathy or empathy towards what he's going through in terms of taking the first loss and he's never tasted that before? Do you feel for him at all in that way?
Yeah, I feel. Of course, it's really, really tough. I remember my first loss to Hopkins. It was really tough to get out of that mental state. But I feel he's a strong person. So I wish him all well.
And last question, we talked about you wanting maybe a heavyweight title shot, maybe their Kownacki rematch. You said it's too early to tell. Whatever the opponent ends up being, when do you think we'll see you back in the ring? Do you think it would be this summer? Do you think it would be in the fall? When approximately do you think we'll see you back?
That's also something that I have to talk to my manager, but of course I'm gonna take now like a week, maybe a couple of weeks off, doing just some light work just to keep going. But maybe we'll get. I don't know. I have a better answer maybe in a week or something like that.
Sounds good. I want to congratulate you once again. I want to wish you all the best in your rest and relaxation. We saw you on the Countdown show in the sauna. I'm sure that you'll have plenty of time to rest and reflect now. Best of luck to you, and thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much.
That was the Nordic Nightmare calling in from the Åland Islands between Finland and Sweden. Robert Helenius, 36 years old. He's now right back in the heavyweight picture. He's sparred with guys like Joshua, Fury, and Wilder, so he knows what it's like to be in there with them. And let's see if he takes that opportunity next. Let's see if he opts for the rematch. That remains to be seen. That rematch, of course, would be against the man he just knocked out. That is Adam Babyface Kownacki. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Adam Babyface Kownacki. I am Curran Bhatia. This is Ask the Experts, chatting with Adam Kownacki. He's 30 years old. He's the heavyweight contender. So, Adam, of course, everyone in the world right now is probably not thinking about sports or boxing. We're dealing with the coronavirus pandemic here, the global pandemic. How are you handling it? Are you safe? Are you with family? How are you handling the whole thing?
Yeah, so me and my wife went upstate to New York, where I have a little like a vacation home, and I was staying there, right, away from the city, where a lot of cases are being brought up. So trying to stay safe and isolated.
And right now, are you even thinking about training and boxing, or are you just trying to get through everything that's going on?
I'm definitely training. I'm doing some kettlebell work, some running, making sure my shape doesn't get totally out of shape. And then hopefully you got to see what's going to happen. A lot of the major boxing sporting events were canceled, but I'm still working out, staying in shape.
So you're staying ready, which is great. So when I spoke to you in training camp before your most recent fight, we talked about all the tremendous success you've had, the community that you've built, all the Polish fans that show up for your fights, and that proved true on your last fight on March 7th at the Barclays Center. It was nearly 9,000 people, and it was a sea of red. I was there in the front row there watching you. So coming into the fight, how was the training camp when you were preparing for Robert Helenius? Was everything good with the weight? You weighed in at 265 and a quarter, which is consistent with what you've been. So was everything good coming into the fight?
Yeah, I've been good. Speaking of the Sea of Red, I mean, they were even more supportive after the fight. The fight didn't go my way, and they were very supportive after. So I want to give a real good shout out to my fans for being there with me, not only when it's good, but also when it's bad. As for the camp, camp was good. I was prepared very well. I thought I was winning the fight, and just Robert called with a very good shot, and the ref called it a slip, but I was definitely buzzed, and it was something that happened to me for the first time in my career, and I reacted the wrong way. Instead of taking a step back, trying to recover, I went forward to fight again, and he caught me again, and that's when I landed on my behind.
And you were having success in the early rounds in round one. In round two, there was a lot of back and forth, and if you were watching the fight on TV, the announcer said that's the first time we've seen Adam Kownacki take a backward step, right? That's not really normal. Did you feel his power in round two a little bit that made you pause and take a backward step?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I mean, he was a big boy, so definitely, that was the first time I actually felt something him hit me, and so I knew I had to regroup. But then I weathered the storm, and then the third round I came back strong. And then I thought I had him out. I was maybe a little bit too aggressive in the fourth round instead of keep doing what I was doing. And I came in a little bit too headstrong, and I got caught with a good shot.
You got caught in the fourth round. Now, like you said, the first shot was called a slip. Since then, have you watched it back? Do you think that should have been called a slip, or should that have been a knockdown?
It should have been called a knockdown, definitely. I mean, caught with a good right hand. And I probably would have got a little bit more time to recover. It could have ended differently. But it happened. I'm not dwelling over what happened, what should have been. I watched the fight, like I said, plenty of times. Took out my mistakes, and I hope to improve them in the next fight.
Absolutely. If it had been called a knockdown, then you would have gotten the 8 count, and you may have had more time to get yourself together. You got back up. He knocked you down again, and then eventually the ref stopped it. At the time of the stoppage, did you agree with the stoppage when it happened? We saw you kind of throw a punch as the ref was stopping it. Did you agree with the stoppage?
I mean, I'm a warrior, so I wish it wasn't stopped. I wish I was knocked out cold. But the ref is there to do, the best job. And he thought I was hurt. He thought I wasn't able to continue, so he stopped it. I mean, he's the third man in the ring. I mean, I wish I could continue. Like you said before, I was throwing punches. I was still in the fight. But the ref decided to stop it, so I got to live with it.
And was this a case of, we see when fighters have had success throughout their whole career. Before this fight, you were 20-0 undefeated. You hadn't been knocked down. You hadn't been really hurt in a bad way. So when you were hurt, you maybe didn't have the experience in terms of holding or kind of trying to move and deal with that. Was that part of it because you hadn't been hurt before, so you didn't have experience in terms of trying to buy time and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said before, it's the first time I was actually buzzing the fight, and I didn't know how to or even in sparring. I didn't know how to recover from that. And with my style, it's going, very aggressive. So taking a step backwards, I stepped forward. I tried to, get him back for it, and that was a huge mistake, and I got caught again.
And we've seen that work for you because you have the most fan-friendly style. You throw a lot of punches. You always come forward for us and the fans' entertainment. We saw that against Chris Arreola. You guys had a record number of punches thrown and landed. So I know that is your style. Now that the fight's over and you've had some time to reflect and look back, what are some of the changes that you hope to make? What are things you'll learn from this?
I got to slow down a little bit. I can't be over-aggressive. And I think I got to learn to keep my feet under me. I think I let my forward, my upper body lean over my feet too much instead of going my feet first. And that's how he caught me.
And do you think that, I said this about, for example, Deontay Wilder lost for the first time. I said that I actually think it was a good thing for him because now he'll go back, make changes. And I think the same thing about you, and I'm just wondering your thoughts. Could this be a blessing in disguise because it's the first time that you go back and look at what works, what doesn't work, make some changes, make some adjustments, things like you just talked about. Could it be a blessing in disguise in a way?
I think so. I'm a very I believe in a higher power, and I think I've been guided the right way. And I think if I won this fight, my career would have really skyrocketed, and maybe I wasn't really ready for it at this time. So somebody should take a step back and you'll come back stronger. Because that's the first time in my career where I was knocked down. But I'm not talking about in the fight. I'm talking about with my injury. I broke my hand 4 fights into my career, and I was out for 2-3 years. And it was also before a huge fight on Thomas Adamek on the card with a huge Polish population. I was supposed to be the up and coming Polish champ, and I had an injury. So I just believe everything happens for a reason. So I'm taking it as a lesson learned, and I'll be back stronger.
Absolutely. So before this fight, there were talks that your next opponent, had you gotten past Robert Helenius, could have been maybe Andy Ruiz. I personally still think that would be a great fight between you and Andy Ruiz. Do you want Andy Ruiz? Do you want a rematch with Robert Helenius? What do you want next?
I would love a rematch. I would like to make my wrong all right. But we got to figure out what's going to happen with this virus. I'm in good hands with Al Heyman and Keith Connolly as the managers. And whatever happens next, I'm ready for it, I want to show my fans that what happened that night was a mistake. And that's not the real Adam Kownacki.
And we know that you're going to go back into training. And once the virus and everything calms down, I'm sure we're going to see you back in there. I have to ask you, because last time we sat down, we talked about your ambitions to be a Polish-born heavyweight champion. We talked about the Anthony Joshua opportunity that came up back in June of last year. And, of course, you said you didn't regret it, which makes sense. Any changes on that mindset, saying, the opportunities maybe were there and now it's going to be a little bit more of a rebuilding process?
No, it's a sport. It's life. You can't predict everything. You can't write a book and make it the way it's supposed to be. You take the good with the good, or the bad with the bad, and we fight on. I'm a fighter, so I'm going to continue to take every day at a time and every fight at a time, and continue to grow as a person and try to be a better boxer.
And we talked about your community that was there. I was there looking around. It was one of the loudest arenas I've ever been in, and it was only 9,000 people. But it seemed like every single person was wearing a red shirt. They were cheering for you. Tell me a little bit more about what that community support has been like since what happened that night on March 7th. What's the community reaction been like?
My fans been very supportive of me, so I'm very thankful for that. I've been getting bunch of messages on Instagram, Facebook, bunch of emails, phone calls, texts. Thank you guys for the support. It means so much knowing that you guys know it was just a mistake and that this is a sport. And the heavyweight division, one punch changes everything. And that's what happened. So thank you guys, and know that I'll be back.
Absolutely. So just to close it out, we know that globally we're dealing with this pandemic here, this virus. So no one really knows when things are going to get back on track. What is your tentative timeline in your head of getting back into a full training camp, getting a fight? Are you looking for hopefully like this fall to get back in there against either a rematch or another top name, or what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, I'm hoping end of the year back in the ring. That's the goal. That's the plan. But we got to figure out what happens with this virus. New York is very bad. All over the world is a real. It's horrible. I hope the people in charge of it find a way to deal with it. So everybody stay home. Make sure you don't do nothing stupid. And I think we gotta battle to fight as humans. To do the right thing.
Absolutely, well said. Adam Kownacki, I want to thank you so much for the time. Stay safe during this tough period, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the ring again. I'm sure we're going to see you back better than ever in the ring, so thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end here. I hope you are staying safe wherever you are listening to this from. Thank you so much for listening. I want to thank my guests, Adam Babyface Kownacki, Robert Helenius. Looking forward to hopefully seeing both of those guys back in the ring sometime soon. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Thank you everyone who listened. If you want to follow us, you can follow at ATE_podcast. That's on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to follow my personal channels, it's at CurranBhatia on Instagram and Twitter. That's at Curran Bhatia on Instagram and Twitter. Please subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/Curran Bhatia. Please check out our show on iTunes. Hit subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. If you want to email the show, it's asktheexpertspod@gmail.com. This is Curran Bhatia signing off for Ask the Experts.
Thank you for listening to Ask the Experts